Hello, everybody, and welcome to our webinar. You're very welcome. This is a webinar all about switching your mortgage in Ireland and how you could save thousands in 2026. Yeah, it won't take too long. We will have like probably 25 minutes Q&A. We would welcome your questions. There is a question tab, and we will have a couple of polls as well. So hopefully it'll be nice and interactive for you as well, folks. All right, then welcome everybody. Today we're going to talk about switching your mortgage in Ireland, and we have Sean Corbett, who's the Director of Mortgages at SYS Mortgages. He will be leading the webinar, and we also have a special guest today, Damien Woods, who's solicitor and partner with Jacob Law. I'm Samantha Kelly. I am Business Development, SYS Financial and SYS Mortgages. So I'm going to hand you over to Sean, who's going to do a little presentation for you. And don't forget, if you want to ask a question, use the ask a question button and I will bring it up at the end of the session.
Great. Thanks, everyone. We're actually running 2 webinars today for the first time, just to cope with this sort of volume. So look, thanks for joining me for this one at 1 o'clock. The webinar itself should take 25, 30 minutes. There is a lot of content in there and I may miss some points. So as Samantha said, please ask questions as we go, and we'll answer those either halfway through the webinar or at the end. And as I said, we've got a Q&A in the middle as well. So it's cool. All right. First, we would talk about a little bit about SYS Mortgages, just very briefly. It's more information today than anything else. What's happening with rates in Ireland and indeed across Europe with the ongoing conflict. Why switch and how much could you save? Available options out there in the marketplace, the switching process itself, costs and fees associated and cashback deals that are out there. What do you need to do to switch and what do you need to provide? And just very at the end, why choose us as your preferred mortgage broker to give you some options? And then, as I said, we'll have Q&As right at the end. Damien will join me halfway through the process here to answer some questions that have come in about what is a solicitor needed and so on. Cool. Okay, about SYS Mortgages. We're a mortgage broker, which effectively means that we've got access to the whole of the market and indeed every rate out there. So by using a broker, you're not disadvantaged in any way. You get still the best rates in the market. I'm pleased to say as well, we don't charge for our service, so there's no charge from us throughout the switching process. So, but we're here to give you valuable advice. And we're part of a much larger company, SYS Financial, who are an award-winning financial advisory. So if anybody wants a complete financial plan, that is out there too. And I will cover that off in a little bit as well. Okay, we've got offices throughout Ireland, i.e. Dublin, Cork, Tipperary, and indeed Limerick. Okay, just a quick poll there. Sam said we'd do a quick poll, so I'll go in here to poll, and if you guys wouldn't mind answering it for me, it'll just give us good insight. There's actually 2 questions in this poll, so if you wouldn't mind answering it there just for 1 to 2 minutes, and then we'll move on from there.
So when are you considering switching your mortgage? Within the next 3 months, 3 to 6 months, 6 to 12 months? Not sure yet. What's your biggest concern about switching? That's a great one. Yeah, getting a better rate, cost, fees involved, the process being complicated. Not sure if I'd be improved. That's a really big one, isn't it, Sean? And just keep learning. And you're also welcome.
Now, look, hopefully we'll cover off those, certainly the learning and certainly costs involved, and we'll certainly be covering off getting a better rate. So I'll end that poll. Thanks, guys, for doing that. Cool. And then we go on to the next one in a minute. Okay, great. Okay. What's happening with rates in Ireland? Look, I'm getting asked that on a daily basis now, and indeed, I guess that's why people are really concentrating on the switching process, certainly in 2026, because there is with what's going on globally in the market, rates seem to be going only one way. I was asked in January when I did a couple of articles and indeed on radio, where did I think rates were going? And I said they would stay static for 2026. And how wrong can you be? Nobody expected what's going on in the Middle East, and that could potentially drive inflation. And when inflation is driven higher, then the European Central Bank look at rates to combat that, and they tend to put rates up. So the clever money this year is that rates will go up by maybe 0.75%, i.e., 0.25% in June, followed by another two rises throughout the year. So that could have a knock-on effect on rates that are available in the market. The banks do tend to move when the European Central Bank rate moves. So just look, now probably a good time to review where you're at, but rates look like they're going up slightly, i.e. 0.75% in 2026. Great. Why switch and how much could you save? Well, that's the main reason. Look, people, there has been recent articles. As I said, I've been on the newspapers with a few of them, and you can save up to 10,000 euros over a 4-year period now. So for doing an afternoon's work, and I'll explain how that works in a moment. So, why do people switch? To access better rates, i.e., if you're on a current rate with your current lender, it's good to look around the marketplace and see what's actually out there, and you may actually get a better rate, which will actually save you money, or could even reduce the term of your mortgage. Compare and switch with ease with one application. We compare all major Irish lenders. Now, that's an important point. If you have got options from your existing lender, it is vital that you take 15, 20 minutes with a broker to assess whether you're better off staying with your existing lender or move into a new lender. And that's vital to do it, because we could actually lower your monthly payments, or we could actually reduce your mortgage term, as I said. But if your option is to stay with your current lender, we would tell you that also. People like to release equity. We're doing a lot of that at the moment. With the shortage of housing in Ireland, a lot of people now are extending their property, making their property greener, i.e. saving on energy bills and so on, and you can release equity from your property. And what that means is, if your property, for example, is worth 500,000, you've got a current mortgage of 200,000 on it, your equity is 300,000, and you could release some of that equity to do works on a property. You could even reduce other debts you've got, i.e. Debt consolidation. So we can release equity for a multitude of purposes. And we can unlock cashback offers. I'm doing that a lot for people at the moment, i.e. getting people a better rate. And there are lenders out there now who will actually give you a 2% cashback. How that works, if you have a mortgage of 300k, you switch to one of these lenders who offer cashback. They will give you 6,000 euros when you draw down the mortgage to help with your costs, which we'll cover off in a moment, and to spend the rest on what you like. So you could actually save money monthly and get a cashback offering. So these are all the reasons why people would switch their mortgage. Cool. Can I save money by switching? You certainly can. There's a recent study, and I've got an example in a moment. We'll go on to that. It's an example. Original mortgage 300k. Current variable rate 4.4. Now, variable rates are varying at the moment from 4.7 down to 3.75. They're higher than fixed rates currently. But a real life example out there would be an original mortgage of 300k, current rate of 4.4 on a variable rate. There are a lot of people on variable rates at the moment because your lender will give you options to actually pick a rate when your fixed rate is coming to an end. If you do nothing, they will put you on their standard variable rate. Standard variable rates are high at the moment. So 4.4 is this rate. Term remaining 25 years. Monthly repayment is 1650. If you switched to a rate that's available out at the moment, green rate from Bank of Ireland, and I'll explain how green rates work in a moment, 3.1% fixed for 4 years. Your new monthly repayment would be 1438. Monthly savings 212 euros, and believe it or not, you over a 4-year period you would save in excess of 10,000 euros. Alternatively, you could reduce the term of your mortgage to 21 years and keep your repayment at 1,621 euros. So very good reason to put an afternoon's work in to gather some documents that you'd need to get the application going for a switch. You're effectively making yourself about €8,000 for an afternoon's work after you take out the costs and fees involved. So that's switch and save example for you. Right, options available. As I spoke about a minute ago, when you're looking at switching your mortgage, you're looking at what fixed rates are out there and are there variable rates out there that would be worth switching to. Most people, and certainly in the current climate, if you remember back what we said that rates potentially could go up, that means variable rates. A variable rate can come down and can go up, but now it looks like rates are on the rise. So most people are looking at a fixed rate mortgage. So looking at the fixed rate options out there, and fixed rates currently out there are starting at 3%, depending on how much equity is in your property. So a fixed rate is a guaranteed amount that will come out on a monthly basis for a fixed period of time. Most people are choosing between 3 and 5 years at the moment. Avant Money will even fix your mortgage at a rate of about 3.4 for the full term of your mortgage if you didn't want to go through this process again. So, but fixed is fixed. As long as you keep up your monthly payments, that will not change. So it gives you a bit of certainty in a very uncertain climate at the moment. Cool. Green mortgages. These probably weren't around when most people took out mortgages back in 2020 and certainly 2021. Green mortgages are a thing now, and they give you an actual better rate depending on the energy rating of your property. I.e., if your property is a B3 or better, it goes all the way up to A1, A2. All new builds are either an A2 or an A1. So if you bought a new build property 5 years ago, you will qualify for a green rate now. And green rates are starting at 3.1. Very attractive, and they're fixed for a period of time, 4 years and so on. So there are good options out there now. Or if you did energy upgrades on your property, a good tip for people is to find your BER cert, or if you had works done, get a new BER rating. It will cost you money, about €250 to get a new BER cert. But it's worth doing, yeah, to get a green rate. So green rate mortgages, they are out there as well. So we'd always review those when we're looking at options for people. When you are thinking about switching, really think about what do you want from your new mortgage. Are overpayments important to you? I.e., what that means is you can pay more than the monthly payment. I.e., for example, Avant Money offer you 10% overpayments per annum, even while in a fixed rate. So if it's important to you, it's important to tell the broker upfront, so at least we can look at deals that are out there to actually fit that. Are payment breaks allowed? Some lenders do allow these. Ability to fix later if on a variable rate. There are products out that will do that for you, but as I said, most people aren't choosing variable rates now. Will you incur a breakage fee? Are cashback incentives available? A lot of people are looking for cashback incentives to cover the costs that we will go on to in a moment. Cool. Right, the switching process. I'll get Damien involved in a minute. So review
Thank you, Sean.
options and breakage fees with current lender. Very, very important before you do anything on switching. Now, if you're on a variable rate, you're on a variable rate. You can switch without any penalty. I'm fairly 100% sure on that. If you're in a current fixed rate with your lender, 60 days before that fixed rate finishes, they have to give you options that are out there in the market in their rates. So, i.e., Bank of Ireland, if you're with Bank of Ireland will have to send you their full suite of rates with a full breakdown of those rates now, 60 days before your fixed rate's coming to an end. If it's longer than 60 days, I would encourage anybody to ring up and ask for a breakage fee statement. The lender will have to write out, tell you, will it cost you money to get out of your current fixed rate? And then you'd have to weigh up the options. Is it okay to pay that breakage fee? Will I still be better off by going to another lender? So it's important. So a breakage fee statement, ask for that if it's more than if your period's more than 60 days. So we compare the market with rates. So have a look at what's been offered by your existing lender and then compare the market. That's a broker's job, and we'd happily do that for you. And it doesn't take that long, but we will know readily. There's hundreds of mortgage rates out there, so it's important to see what's around. And then you decide, do I stay? What I mean by that, do you stay with your existing lender or do you switch? So, and then if you do decide to switch, you need to secure mortgage approval and appoint a solicitor. So I'll ask Damien a few questions because people don't realize you need a solicitor. And I guess that's over to you, Damien. Why do
Okay.
people need a solicitor when they're switching?
Um, Thank you, Sean. Just basically, just to explain background, I'm a partner in the practice of Jacob Law. We are a conveyancing practice. All we do is property. And one of our areas of speciality is in relation to refinance. That's when people are switching their mortgage. Why do you need a solicitor? Okay, so somebody, when they own a property, they're registered as the owner. There's a whole lot of title documents which are held by the bank that you have your mortgage with at present, and they're held as security for your loan. But if you go onto the Property Registration Authority, Tolcha Éireann, and this is a matter of public record, anybody can go in. You can go into the search function, you can put in your air code. You should be able to see yourself as registered owner. And that's an official recognition of the fact that you own the property. On that folio, which is the document you show you as registered as owner, there's also a section that shows the mortgage that you have on the property. And that's registered as what we call a burden. It is a burden on the property. It is putting people on notice that the bank have a loan on your property. And where we get involved is that when you are switching mortgage, we have to be involved in the legal process of changing that mortgage on the Property Registration Authority from one bank, say it's Bank of Ireland, and if you're changing to Avant and you change it from Bank of Ireland, it's marked off as cancelled, and then the new mortgage is marked on in favour of Avant. And then we take the title deeds from your existing lender and we send them on to Avant. And you have to use a solicitor for that. There is no getting around that. It's just a legal requirement.
And how long does it take, Damien, the process for if I instruct you guys today, I want to switch away from Bank of Ireland, how long does the whole process take?
I think the key in relation to this and to speed up the process is that when somebody comes to you to actually start the actual process of mortgage switching, they should, if they were going to use us, they would contact us. We would get them to sign the relevant documentation, which would enable us to take up their title documents from their existing lenders. So say, for example, somebody comes to you who has a loan with Bank of Ireland and is changing to Avant. They will sign what's called an ATR. It's an accountable trust receipt with us. And based on that, we will arrange to pick up the deeds from Bank of Ireland. That used to take 6 to 12 weeks. It was quite a slow process. New agreements made between the Banking Federation and the Law Society have changed that. Banks are now mandated to release the title deeds within 10 working days. It still takes a little bit longer than that. But while somebody is going through the process of getting a new letter of offer, we could be working in the background to take up their title deeds. When we get the title deeds, we check to make sure that everything is in order with their title, make sure their registration within the property registration is properly recorded. And then this means that once they get the letter of offer, we can move immediately to get all the legal documentation signed and arrange for drawdown of their new loan and arrange for redemption of the existing loan with Bank of Ireland. That process from when the letter of offer issues should only take about 2 to 3 weeks. But the key is to get the documents and the title deeds in advance of doing that. If you came to us, say, at this, having a letter of offer issued, you would be pushing the period out from 3 weeks to perhaps 6 weeks.
Okay, so the key, Damien, I guess, is for people to instruct somebody like Jacob Law before before they even get mortgage approval.
Yes, at the very outset.
And is there a charge if it doesn't go ahead?
No, we have a policy that, we're asking somebody to engage with us early on in the process before they have the letter of offer. in order to speed it up. I mean, part of what we want to do is get it across the line as quickly as we can for them. If it transpires that somebody decides not to proceed, or if it transpires that their existing lender comes back and offers them a really competitive rate so they decide it's not worth switching, or for whatever reason they decide not to go ahead, we do not charge them a fee. There is no obligation on anybody. Even if we've taken up the title deeds and gone quite a way down the road, a client will only pay us at conclusion when the refinance is finished. So they don't have to worry. It encourages people to engage with us. It means that we can deliver the product more quickly at the end once the letter of offer is issued. But there's no financial commitment to them. So they don't have to worry about that.
And I guess the magic question then, Damien, is how much does it cost to switch?
Okay,
Legal fees.
we're in the practice very much in favor of transparency, right? Somebody's engaging in this. It's obvious they want to save money, reduce their payment, shorten their term or whatever, and they want to know how much it's cost. We offer a fixed fee of €1,500. It's a very competitive fee, but it is fixed. The main thing to take away from that is if they don't go ahead, there is no fee. If there's complications, we absorb that within the fee. So they know when they start this process, so that it's only going to cost them 15. There's no hidden extras in relation to this. And the nice thing is if they're getting a cashback, say of 3,000, they end up paying us 1,500 for their legal fees. They'll probably have to pay for valuation, maybe one or two other little bits and pieces, but they can actually work out how much it's going to cost them, what they're going to get out of the cashback as a result.
Brilliant. No, thanks for answering all those questions, Damien. Look, guys, I send a lot of clients to Jacob Law. They are excellent at what they do, and they do everything online as well, which is an extra bonus. You're not you're not putting diesel in your car to go and meet them in the current climate. So it's you'll do everything online, Damien, won't you, over Teams and so on. So
yes, the process yes, we're very much involved in technology. Clients have a portal, they can log in, they can see the progress, they can see what's happening, they can see their accounts.
Amazing.
Yeah. Well, it's the advantage of specialization. This is all we do. We don't do any other aspect of law. So we can really focus on this and be really good at what we do. But it's online, covers the entire country. So the process is that when the letter of offer is issued, we will send out a legal pack to the client, and we meet them online, like in a meeting like this. The call is recorded. We still, unfortunately, need wedding signatures. The legal profession has not moved on to reflect the modern world in terms of digital signature and DocuSign. So the mortgage documentation and the documentation that will be signed at the bank have to be wedding signed, and then they come back to us, and then we witness the signatures here in the office and send it back to the bank. So yes, it's done in the comfort of people's home. One meeting is all it takes, 20 minutes, and that's it. It's pretty slick.
Thanks, Damien. Look, guys, if anybody's got any other questions, put them in the Q&As, and any questions for me or Damien, just stick them in the Q&As and we'll cover them off at the end. That's brilliant, Damien. Thanks ever so much for
thank you
for clarifying all that.
Thank you.
So guys, I guess there's the mortgage switching journey, a secure mortgage approval, but appoint your solicitor before we do that. Certainly if you're using somebody like Jacob Law, submit documents. I'll go through the documents shortly for switching. Arrange property valuation. Don't run out and get your own valuation done and pay for a valuation. The lender will want to get their own valuation done on the property. It is a good idea to get a rough idea of how much the property is worth. In your just ask a local auctioneer or something, but don't pay for valuation. The reason I say have an idea about how much your property is worth is because certain lenders out there will give you a better rate depending on how much, if you remember what I said about equity, how much equity is in your property, i.e. we call it loan to value. So if you're on a low loan to value, i.e. 200k on 500k, it means you're on 40% loan to value, and you would qualify for rates of around 3% in that case. You draw down your new mortgage and repay your existing one. Solicitors take care of that. And then you start paying your new mortgage. And if you're getting a cashback deal, that will be with you shortly after you draw down your mortgage. Cool. Costs and fees. Damien covered some of them. Legal fees, I do see them varying out there. So be very careful.
Yeah.
Jacob Law, €1,500, including everything.
That's everything. Yes.
But I have seen them out there at 3k. So just be careful there, because it will cost you money to switch. Try and keep those costs to a minimum. Valuation fee. The lender will want to value your property, and that's typically anything from €150 to €200 for mortgage valuation. property insurance, very important thing there. When you get your valuation feedback, and people are surprised by this, because properties and the price of building a property has gone up, your rebuild cost on your property is probably gone up, and you will have to go back to your property insurance provider to let them know that your sum assured now to rebuild your property has gone up, so you'll need to review your property insurance. Uh, Mortgage protection, time to review that, and it's vital as well. While you're doing all this process, we've got in-house people. As I said, we've got SYS Financial. It is a good time to review all your overall finances. You're on the property ladder now, and it would be a good time to review both your mortgage protection and your overall financial arrangements as well at that time. So on top of doing your mortgage, we'd like to help you with your finances also. Okay, what will you need to switch? We're nearly there. Hopefully on time. Certain lenders have reduced their documents. Most lenders now have reduced their documents for people who are switching their mortgage. You probably remember back when you were a first-time buyer, when you took out your first mortgage, you have to let a lender know what you had for breakfast 6 months ago. Now you don't, because you've been paying a mortgage. They can see that you're a good bet. So one recent payslip, or two payslips if you paid monthly. Most recent employment detail summary, which you get from my account on revenue. 6 months current account statements, just to show your salaries coming into your bank. Salary certificate is not required if you're not using variable income, or you haven't been, or you've been employed for less than 12 months. Savings accounts, only if I'm trying to cover off something called proven repayment ability. But if you've got a current mortgage, that normally ticks that box. So invariably we don't need savings statements. Not required. Mortgage statement not required, because the lender would see that in the central credit register. Loan statements, they'd also see that in the central credit register, and credit card statements, they'd see those in the central credit. So there's a lot less documents and a lot less heavy lifting. So you provide those documents, and we can probably save you 10K if you're on a variable rate, so over a 4-year period. And you will have costs, of course, you will, but we'll try and keep those to the minimum also. If there's any questions from anybody, just pop them into the Q&As, and then Sam will ask me at the end. What do lenders look for? When you're switching your mortgage, you do have to go through a process, and lenders look at affordability. So again, we would look at that for you, i.e. your circumstances may have changed, i.e. you might now have children, which add to your affordability. You might have taken out loans and so on, and we would take all that into account before we would go through the application process. If we didn't think it would fit with a new lender now, we'd be telling you stick with your existing lender and pick a rate that they've got. But there is a bunch of lenders out there now in the marketplace: PTSB, New Money, MoCo, Bank of Ireland, even Capital Flow, Haven, that's AIB, Avant Money, excellent rates, and ICS Mortgages. So thankfully, we have got a good selection of lenders in Ireland now at the moment. Clean credit's essential, really. So if you think there is anything wrong with your credit, it's worth getting your credit file from the Central Credit Register. It's free. So it's the Central Credit Register. If you thought there was a problem, the lenders will do a credit check on you. So if anything's happened while you're with your existing lender, it's good to let the broker know. So again, we can tell you, do you stay with your current lender or do you switch? They look at your income. Your income will have to cover the mortgage. Now, it's a little bit different than a first-time buyer, because we're looking at affordability rather than times income. Under central bank rules, there is no 4 times income or 3.5 times income when you're coming to switching. It's more affordability, but you do need income, because obviously that drives affordability. So that's what lenders look at. Cool. Why choose SYS? As I said, we don't charge. We've a choice of every lender. I'm proud to say we can put business in with anyone. We use a fully online paperless process, 100% paperless, and fortunately, unlike solicitors, we can use DocuSign and things. So we don't need wet signatures. It's fully online, and it's 24/7 access to our portal. We've full admin support to hold your hand and guide you through the process. We work very closely with Jacob Law in that process to make sure everybody's pulling in the right direction. We have over 60 years of combined mortgage know-how. Unfortunately, most of that is mine. So it's I've been around too long doing mortgages. So I've seen interest rates of 15.4. Hopefully we'll never see them again. Yeah. And we've got great reviews from people. Cool. There's another poll here, guys. I wouldn't mind if we could do it, and that's the final poll. And we'll go in here. And this one here. It's just really quick question. So if you wouldn't mind.
And can I just jump in here? I know there is a question from earlier. I just didn't want to interrupt you. So while people are doing the poll, can I ask
Yeah.
a question? So the free mortgage consultation, by the way, folks, if you would like a free one-to-one mortgage consultation, you can tick, please contact me, maybe later, no, not right now. Definitely, I know that Sean really knows his stuff, and I love Sean. And I don't think you mentioned this enough in the webinars, the fact that you actually kind of hold people's hand through the process, because that all
Yeah,
seems a bit overwhelming to someone like
good
me.
point.
But I know people that might be here now thinking it's a bit overwhelming, all the information. You do help people through the whole process, and I think it's important to mention that.
No, absolutely. No, we do. We do it from start to finish. And look, as I said, isn't this moving along for me? Yeah, well, no. You can book a call there on the QR code, and indeed, if you are booking a call, by the way, it will take you to Candy link. At the end of that Candy link, if you wanted financial advice, we specialize in mortgages. That's all I do. We
Yeah.
have got people who specialize in financial advice. So if you did want to review your financial situation, then please just pop it down at the end of the calendar appointment there. But yeah, as Samantha said, we do the whole thing from start to finish, and it's very important. An initial appointment takes about 15-20 minutes. If we think you are better off staying with your existing lender, it's cost you 15-20 minutes. If we think we can save you 10,000 euros over 4 years, then we will tell you that also. But we will give you options so you're informed. So look, thanks for
Yeah.
attending the webinar. I don't know if there's any
There is a
questions.
question from Lorenzo, and apologies, Lorenzo, for making you wait there. If my current lender has better fixed rates now than the fixed rate I'm currently on, can I switch with the same lender to avail of the better rate, or does it have to be a different lender?
Oh no, you absolutely can, and it's now if you're in a current fixed rate, and that fixed rate isn't expiring for say a year's time, your lender, if you want to switch to a better fixed rate with them, they might charge you a fee for coming out of your current fixed rate because you're going on to a better one. So that's where, yeah, talk to your existing lender and say, look, is there options available there for me? Yeah, so it's but you can, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, has anyone else got any questions? I don't see any coming in here now, so we might be able to wrap
We,
up. Any questions even for Damien? Please throw them into the chat there and we'll ask them, or into the Q&A section.
we must have done a very good job,
Yeah.
which helps. We'll get bombarded now tonight. Be careful what you wish for. But look, thanks ever so much, everyone, for taking time out between 1 and 2. As I said, hopefully you got something from it. You feel free to email me anytime. It's Sean at sysmortgages.ie. That's Sean at sysmortgages.ie with any questions offline, and I'd be pleased to pick them up with you. Great.
Thank you. And
Thank you, Damien. Thank you,
thanks,
Samantha.
yeah,
Thank you, Sean. Thank you,
Thanks.
Samantha.
Cheerio.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
You're very
Bye.
welcome. And thank you,
Bye.
everybody, and have a great rest of your week.